Namaskar, Dadaji.
Namaskar, Nada Muniji.
Your name?
My name is Acharya Madhuvidyananda Avt.
So tell us, how did you get involved with Ananda Marga and initiation?
Yes, I was actually 13 when I received initiation. I was searching spiritually since childhood, really. And so I happened to come, I was graced by someone coming into our flat and doing meditation. And I was interested. So I asked him, and he told me with a group that has a health food store in my hometown. So I went there. And after a few weeks, one Dada came. And I took initiation after his lecture, and then there was a weekly Dhamma Chakra in our town, so I attended the weekly Dhamma Chakra, and I felt at home. I felt I have arrived at home with the practices, with the spiritual philosophy, with the master, everything. I felt at home, and so that's how I started practicing. Yeah, when I was 13 years old.
What year and place was this?
It was 77 in Germany, in a town called Braunschweig in Germany. And it is near the global LFT training center, Timmern. So I was graced basically with growing up near a global spiritual headquarters of Ananda Marga in Timmern, where also a few years later Baba actually visited, and I saw him there. And so we went regularly to Akanda Kirtans when there were LFT sessions and all that. Mm-hmm.
So how old were you when you first met Baba?
When I first met Baba, I met him when he was in Fiesch, 79. So I was 16 years old, and I had my personal contact with him there in Fiesch, actually on his birthday, as far as I remember, on the full moon day of May. Yes.
You're the gift to Baba.
Yes. That day he gave PCs. Actually, he gave PCs particularly for candidates for WT. Now, I wasn't a candidate for WT. I was 16 years old, but somehow that I was working at that time with Dada Tatpavananda, Dada Kritashivananda, and so Dada Tatpavananda kind of put me in there into that list, and so I got personal contact with Baba in Fiesch.
Asking what was it like to get PC?
Yes, it was, it was, I went into his room and I felt, I'm in a slightly different world, different atmosphere. And he asked me the usual names, what is my name, who's my acharya, and all that. And then he asked me, and can you promise me something? And I thought, oh my, here I am, a little boy, 16 years old, my guru in front of me, and he's asking me if I can promise him something. So while I was thinking that, Baba didn't wait much longer. He asked me, can you promise me never to be afraid of any evil force in the entire universe? Wow.
No problem, Baba.
What I mean, It's very, very, very difficult to describe. In that moment, I felt so many things. I felt, first of all, that he's totally one with me, that he knows me from the inside, because I had a very carefree, a very happy, carefree childhood. Really, only I had, as far as I was concerned, one problem, and that was fear of darkness. No, I used to play soccer, and in the night after the soccer training, I had to drive home on my bike, and it was dark. It was dark, nighttime, evening time. It was already dark, and I felt afraid on my way home from the soccer training. And I didn't like that at all of myself, to have this kind of fear. So to ask me that, and then to ask it with such a unconditional, like an unconditionally loving mother. And then I understood, I felt that he's not only asking that, he wouldn't ask me something that I couldn't do. He's asking something that I can do and that he will help me to do. So if he's asking me, then I will say yes, and I know he will be with me and help me to fulfill that promise. And I said, yes, Baba. And he was very happy and very pleased. And so then in the PC, basically, he just continued a little bit, gave me some blessings. And then that was the end of my PC. And it's just deepened my spiritual understanding of him, of the mission, and that was when I was 16. That was my first experience with Baba. Yes.
And what about notable experiences after that?
Oh yeah, then um, 2 years later it was Dharma Samiksa. I was able to go to Dharma Samiksa, and I went there and I got Dharma Samiksa, and that was also another most life-changing experience for me. I had gone there being already LFT, and I was there as LFT, and I wanted to become WT, but being 18, just having become 18, I felt a little, that I would need something more, some more strength, something more ability for discipline and all that. And I had some particular thoughts. So then Baba did the usual routine. He punished me a little bit for organizational laziness. And then he went very specific to some weaknesses that I had and expressed them in quite some detail. And then he started to give me the punishment, which I had heard about. And I thought, okay, when Guru gives punishment, when he beats, it's like something transcendental. No, it wouldn't hurt much or something. So he asked me to put my t-shirt up, and he put left and right and was punishing me for that. And then it was not enough for him. I had to take off the t-shirt, and he continued. And it really started to pain quite a bit. It started to burn. And so then he asked the Dadas around, are tears coming? He wanted to see that tears are coming, that I'm crying. And I wasn't crying. I wasn't feeling to cry, although it was quite painful. And so then he just continued. And then at some point, there were no tears coming, but the Dada said, yeah, Baba, tears are coming. So then he stopped. Then he stopped. And then he continued. And then he asked me a few questions. And then he asked me this one question: will you be an ideal human being? And then again, I felt that it's like if Baba asked me that, of course I would say yes. And I said, yes, Baba. And again, smile. And then he gave me some blessings and some words about me. And that was the end of Dharma Samiksa. And then after that, the tears were coming. After that, I was crying, being totally dissolved in this experience of an exceptional feeling. So much love. I felt that Baba loved me in this way so much that I was overwhelmed, because I felt with this treatment, with this fire that was in my body, really a lot of stuff got burned out of my body, out of my chakras, that freed me to do what I wanted to do, to become a sannyasi. And so then my path was pretty clear, free. As I said, I was LFT. I continued some of my duties and then went for WT training. Yeah, that were my experiences before I became an acharya with Baba.
What about when you became a whole timer?
Yes, then I had also several experiences, of course, with Baba. I did my W23 training in the Sweden Training Center. And then after 1 year, I got a posting in stopped in India. Then I got a posting. Actually, I already got a posting. Then I stopped in India and I went to my posting in Suva sector. So I was actually first posted RS Sydney. So I was there for a while, and then there was some emergency in New Zealand. So I got posted as RS Wellington. And so at that time, the system was that those who passed the training in Sweden or in Davao outside of India, they would finish the training and become brahmacharis, are able to do nama mantra. And then after some field work of about a year, then would go to India, finish their acharya training, and then become a fully fledged acharya. So after about a year, I then went to India, finished my acharya training. And after finishing the acharya training, I immediately applied for Avadhuta diksha. So I said I wanted to become Avadhuta as quickly as possible. And so they said, okay, okay, you just became acharya. So, you're on the list now, that's okay, but it will take some time. Usually it takes some years. So then after finishing my training and all that, I went back to the sector. And then within a few months, Baba actually decided to give Avadhuta diksha. And as I was on the list, and so they had to put me on the list, Baba actually approved my name. He didn't approve quite a few other names, but he approved my name, which then, of course, then after a few months, I went again to India to receive Avadhuta Diksha from Baba and learn Kapalik. And of course, that is secret, what was in the initiation. But I think I can say something that Baba said that is, I think, not secret. I was there in a group of about, I would say, 10 to 18 Dadas. They were actually all from India, except 2 were from Germany, and one candidate was from from Malaysia. And in that, he was talking in English mostly, a little bit sometimes in Bengali and maybe Hindi, but mostly in English. And at one point, he looked in my direction and said, Jesus came to India and learned this sadhana. With this sadhana, he meant tantric sadhana, not necessarily Kapalik sadhana, that I don't know. But he said that in that meeting clearly. And then he just continued with his description and about what we were there for. And so that was an interesting piece of information. I thought at that time Baba would say that quite generally to those who become Avadhutas from outside of India. But I later learned from Dada Pranavatmakananana, who's collecting all these Baba stories, that he hasn't heard that from anyone else except one person whom Baba spent some time with in jail, where Baba told to that person that Jesus didn't die on the cross and that he lived in India. So these are the only times that Dada Pranavattmakananda heard that Baba actually said that. So he said that, as far as I remember, clearly in my Avadhuta Diksha. So that was the second. That was basically my Avadhuta Diksha, and then I had, of course, several experiences with Baba during reporting sessions. I would like to narrate one in particular.
Please do.
It was a reporting session where Baba actually spent most of the time teaching us Sanskrit. Really, instead of taking reporting, he was teaching us Sanskrit for several days. And wow, it was very, very nice. And I took notes, and then I learned it, I studied it. And so at the end of this RDS period, he then, at one session, he said, so now there will be a little exam, and let someone come forward. And so nobody was really coming forward. I'm not the kind of person who kind of, goes forward when maybe some others would like to come forward. Well, I saw nobody comes forward. And I remember in reporting sessions, when Baba asked questions, many, many times people cannot answer nicely. But when they can answer nicely and in a kind of a humble way, I noticed that Baba's very, very pleased. Very, very pleased. He enjoys it very much. So I thought to myself, I don't know if I'm capable of, but I want to please Baba. I want to really give him pleasure because I know he has all these different phases and how he expresses himself. And many times he's kind of upset and angry. But I think that he enjoys a little more if he can be happy and express his joy. So I thought, at least I will endeavor. I will endeavor to please Baba. So I went forward. And so then Baba started to ask me questions. I answered the first, and it was correct. I answered the second, and it was correct. And it just continued like this. I was just standing like this, and all I had in my mind is, Baba, I want to please you. I've studied what you have told us because I gave proper recognition that you spend so much time teaching us this. And I enjoyed your teaching. So I learned the Sanskrit. And if I can please you, and it just continued. He asked really question after question. I was able to answer them all correctly. And I felt like he's just playing with himself. He's just enjoying that I'm answering correctly. I just remain basically his instrument to wanting to please him. And at the end, he was so happy that he said, come forward, my little boy, come forward. So I did Sastang Pranam, came very close to him, and then very close, and he touched my cheeks like this. And I looked into his eyes. His eyes were moist. They were moist for joy. He enjoyed it so much, this play with himself, so to speak, through me. And then he said, what a bright boy you are. What a bright boy you are. So, yeah, it was, of course, an extremely beautiful experience. And I'm narrating this because I believe it is whatever Baba did to us. It is in a way personal. It made all the difference in my personal life, but it is also more than personal. I would say it's the experience of anyone wanting to just humbly please the Guru, that he or she is a bright boy or is a bright girl. That's the brightest thing to do, to just have the ideation to please the Guru, to please Paramapurusha. And so that is, in that experience, I just felt that flow that he plays with himself through me. Yes.
Right, that's beautiful. Do you remember any of the questions he asked you that you were answering correctly?
Prefix and suffix. I remember, for example, Durachari, Sudurachari. So he explained the prefixes of Durachari, and Sudurachari is a very, very, very bad person. So yeah, that is pretty much the only detail that I remember. Yeah. We enjoyed a very informal times with him. Yeah, in Timan also, I think. Yeah.
So what are you doing now, Dadaji?
Yeah. Now I'm in Ananda Ashram. It's a quite a large Jagrati in southern Germany, and a training center. It's actually an LFT training center and training center for sadvipra training center. I live here with 2 LFTs who got training here in the last years also. And so I run this training center, and also here we founded Proutist Party, Menschliche Welt, in 2013. I'd like to say something how it came to that. In that, around that time, at some point I found myself, due to some unusual organizational circumstances, needing to spend some time in Germany, and indefinite, undefined spend time in Germany. So I asked myself, while I'm in Germany, how can I please Baba the most? What can I do here specifically in this organizational situation to advance, to fulfill Baba's mission, to please him? And so I looked at Baba's expressions when he went to Europe, when he toured Germany. Did he give some specific hints? Did he give something special that I could perhaps pick up and think of doing? And so I was, as an LFT, I was Prout LFT, and I remember Baba instructed us at that time already, like 40 years ago, now it's 40 years ago, to publish a daily Prout paper. So I knew that he wanted that, and I knew that, I mean, I had the background, I have had at least the training to do it. So that was one thing. And then another thing was that when Europe, it's interesting that he came to Germany, and then and in Fiesch, Switzerland, to Germany and some other places, and then he went somewhere else, and then he basically finished his visa, and then later on, a few months later, he came again. At that time, he didn't have a visa for Germany anymore. I've heard the story now that he was in Istanbul at the time, and he told the workers, he told to his personal assistant, Dada Ramananda, he wants to visit Germany again, even if it's just for a very short visit. He didn't have visa anymore. Somehow it was arranged, the authorities agreed to let Baba enter another time, which he had specifically asked for, wanted. So that was in the autumn, late summer, autumn, September of '79. And in that visit, which was very short, Baba gave a very unusual, I would say unusual discourse, where he expressed something in a way that I think he has not expressed anywhere else. It's in Frankfurt, September '79, and he gave a darshan to about 20 margis. It's later on entitled, one can find it in Anavachanamritam part 14, I think, to save humanity. And there he says in such a clear language that I haven't seen really having said anywhere else, that human society is facing normally crisis. That's a natural thing. But at the moment, humanity is facing an existential crisis, that humanity has to decide whether to live or not to live. And that the death signals are already here, can be heard. And that it is the duty of every spiritual aspirant, the mission at the moment of every spiritual aspirant is to save humanity from this crisis. And then he said in this discourse, and I hope you will be successful in this mission. And I've heard some Magi sister who was there in that darshan. It sounded a bit wow to her. Wow, that is, that's pretty, pretty daunting. And at the end of the darshan, he said, I not only hope, I'm sure that you'll be successful in your mission. It is the mission to save humanity from this crisis. And the crisis is connected, Baba says, with the words that he used is with the intolerance and mudslinging. If that continues, humanity has no future. So I looked at that, intolerance, mudslinging, '79. It was at the height of the Cold War. 79, 80, 81, 82, it was extremely tense. And Germany is a place just in the middle of the superpowers, really just divided by these two, so to speak. And so I took that as some message that Baba decided to particularly express in Germany. And so again, connected that with my training and with what I can do. I have a background in work, because in Prout work, because the solution, as Baba has said so many times, of this crisis is only one, and that is a sadvipra leadership. Only sadvipras, only the leadership of sadvipras, only the rule of sadvipras can save humanity from this crisis. And so then it is very close to what I can do and what I have what I feel I've been given some ability to do, that is to do Prout work and to train sadvipras, to help people, I should say, to help people develop their sadvipra qualities and capacities. So that's what I started then. That's why I started the Jagati. I started the training center. And then after training some sadvipras, then the question is, what will they do? Sadvipras are not a title or anything. It's not an academic thing. It needs to be expressed. So how to express that capacity? And so then we decided to start a party, because practically, we are in the Vaishyan age, and the rule of sadvipras is to help humanity, society, to come into a new age out of a crisis, out of exploitation. So taking all that together, I and we decided to start a protest party, menschliche Welt, and so that's what we have been doing. So we first established the spiritual center, the training center, Ananda Ashram. Then we started the political party, and the Prout party has been contesting in national elections, in European elections, in state elections. And right now we are preparing for next year's national elections. For a small party, it's a lot of requirements and a lot of work. But it will bring us an exposure to the public that is exceptional. So that's what I'm doing
at the moment. You have many members?
We have about 700 members. It's not very much for a party, but it's something. I mean, and at the last European elections, I mean, it's not many, but I think it was about 38,000 people voted for us. I mean, 38,000 people in Germany put their cross on the Proutist party.
And what sort of issues were you promoting or policies?
Well, at the moment, one of the issues that we are promoting is, and that is also related to certain things that Baba said when he was in Europe, and that is in German it's called Friedenspolitik. It means the policy of seeking peace, not war, not preparing for war, but seeking through negotiations and through understanding, through developing tolerance and understanding, peaceful solutions. So that is one of our main issues. And I also took that clue a little bit from Baba, because again, when he toured Europe, he spoke about war in a different way. He had spoken about wars quite differently in India. But in Germany, he said war, and in the German-speaking area, when he was traveling here, war is the blackest spot of human character. And that our forefathers, he said that I think in Hanover or in Switzerland, our forefathers made the mistake of encouraging war, and we should rectify their mistake. So he clearly, to express it like that, I've only heard him say this in Germany. So there is some relation, of course, to the history. And so that is one of our issues that we bring forward. Of course, as other ones, as social justice and all these points, and protection of environment and all these necessary points. But this policy of seeking tolerance and international understanding and peaceful solutions, that is one of the issues that we are standing for. So these are one of the things. And then, as I mentioned before, Narda, when Baba was here, he was really pressing for a daily paper. So I thought, now we can do that. Now we have the internet, we have online. So for the last 3-4 years, we published a daily Prout paper online. Every day we have a new issue. So it is basically fulfilling what it's in baby steps. It's small, but it is fulfilling what Baba wanted us to do. So we are publishing a daily Prout paper here. We are running a spiritual LFT training center and sadvipra training center, and we are having this movement. It's a movement, a Prout movement, and the Proutist party. So that's what I'm engaged in. And as people are interested, I also particularly know in Suva sector, Margis in New Zealand have approached me, and we could help them to do some similar work in New Zealand. And if anyone is interested in this work, then we'd be happy for them to contact us, and we would always be ready to assist and help with our experience.
Tell
Yes.
me, I'm very curious to know, what do you specifically teach in sadvipra training? What sort of things do they learn to make them sadvipra?
Well, they learn what are the three fundamental characteristics of a sadvipra. What makes a sadvipra? What are the four major activities that a sadvipra engages in? And so this very, I mean, it's all based on spirituality. We have, it is so clear that Prout and the whole concept of sadvipra is very much based on spirituality. By the way, that is also a part of our party projection. We are in a situation where we can tell that social leadership, political work requires spiritual practices. The human society can only be healthy, can only have a healthy background with spirituality as a base. That's something that Baba said in the third principle of Prout. Now, these things need to be understood. So these are the things that people learn. What are these qualities? What are the activities? And very specifically, how to develop these sadvipra qualities. So these are the things that we are teaching there, and then it becomes very practical. That's why we have the party also. It's mostly German people who are attending these classes. So then they utilize, they express that knowledge by being candidates, for example, or by going canvassing and standing and explaining what is Prout, giving interviews, doing prachars, doing spiritual prachar also. So the training, very much part of it is the practical side, the field work, the field training. To get experience, we need to learn to fulfill the requirements of being really sadvipra leaders in society.
Very good. Well, on that, Dada, thank you very much for sharing that. That's very interesting and inspiring.